Hey guys, Mr. V over here doing a book review today for Drunkish, a memoir of loving and leaving alcohol by Stefanie Wilder Taylor. So you can see from this book review, this is a non-fiction book. It's a memoir about Stefanie Wilder Taylor, who authored a previous book, and she had also appeared on different talk shows about and talked about her love of alcohol and how she quit it. And she was also a former minor comedian. So let's get into the book review for Drunkish. Before reading this book, there's a few things you should know. First, I would say that you definitely want to be an adult before reading this book because she talks about a lot of adult situations. Not only the drinking of alcohol, but she talks about more adult situations, and she does that within the first 2 pages. So you want to be an adult to read this book. You should also know that this book was written with humor. She talks about very serious situations, but she throws a lot of humor in there. You want to be prepared for that because she throws in a lot of sarcasm and funny situations, some that do make you laugh. It's not just very easy humor, it is very funny humor. So you want to know that. Lastly, this book, her memoir, is great because she had an eventful life, and she basically gives you like multiple stories in this book where she shows you how it was to have the life of a troubled teen, how she became a stand-up comedian and the struggles she faced, becoming an alcoholic, becoming a mother, and then quitting alcohol. So she has a lot in this book. So you're getting multiple stories. So it's not just one of these books where she covers about 5 years of her life. She covers like 40 years of her life. And that's what makes this a very, very fun book, because a fun and interesting book. Because she tells you the truth of who she is. Like when the book starts out, she tells you the truth. When the book starts, she is someone who's in their 30s. And I think based off of it, she's in her mid-30s to late 30s. Yet she is partying like someone who is in their early 20s. Where she tells you her party lifestyle, how she was even drinking a lot during the week. And she even felt at the time like, oh, she may be drinking too much because she is now in her mid to late 30s. Yet she still felt very happy despite the over drinking. And that's basically, how the book starts out. And she just covers it from there and describes the realities like she had to face, where she talks about the difficulty of parenting. She had 2 kids, and the difficulty she had of parenting and how she used alcohol to escape that, to where she was even drinking with lunch or drinking with other parents when the kids were at school type of thing, or when they would go to an event with the kids, they would want to have a quick martini or anything like that. So she talks about that. And she shows you like how much she was drinking. And that's why I said she is very truthful in this book. So that's also what makes this book very interesting. But then she also writes about her life growing up and gives you a look into the possibilities of why she is drinking so much at this point, or how she was drinking so much in her mid-30s. But she also gives you insights into the other addictions she faced. I won't go in detail about it, but like one of the addictions she faced was sugar when she was a kid. She loved candy and she just loved different sugar things, and how she even compared the super addiction to sugar to how she's addicted to alcohol. And it was definitely a very interesting comparison and an interesting analysis too, how she did that. So that part was very interesting. But she then goes on and shows you how she started drinking, like her beginning of alcohol. She started drinking in high school. And because she was drinking, she was ditching classes to go drinking. And she just became a very rebellious kid, partying. She even felt like sober was so boring, and she just shows how she was as a troubled teen. Then she goes into her life growing up through adulthood and just gives you a lot of background to her life, which is why I feel this book was very, very interesting and fun. And she kept throwing the humor in there. There's even a whole chapter devoted to the 20 questions, where these are these questions where you answer these 20 questions, and that kind of determines, are you an alcoholic or not? And she gives a whole chapter to that where she is answering all the questions. But it's very funny because she is adding a lot of comments after each question. But you also see like how she's answering the questions is how many like alcoholics would answer the questions, which is with excuses. And you can see that. But she also adds like very funny commentary And because of that commentary, you can really see who she is. And it was cool because she devoted a whole chapter to it. So that was a lot of fun as well. But then the book talks about, I said, like, not only becoming an alcoholic, but then how she started to quit and the difficulties she faced because she was trying so many ways to quit, and she was a mother, and like, just why did she want to quit, and how much she started to drink, and like she couldn't even pull it back a little bit. She had to quit, and she just shows all these things. And the book is very truthful. You know, she is letting you know her true thoughts. And that's what made this book a lot of fun as well. I'll just give you one example. She would talk about how she would wake up hangover and just telling herself that she had to quit. Yet 3 days later, she would talk herself back into drinking and show that she continually did that. And she just had many examples of how she tried to quit and could not. And she just shows all of that in the book. But I think that this book was really good because I think many can relate to this book, because you don't have to be the one that's addicted. You know, you could be addicted, but you can also know someone who is going through these types of addictions. And it doesn't even need to be alcohol. There are so many addictions out there. Like she said, there's alcohol, but there's candy addictions, but there's people who want to go on diets and they cannot go on a diet. There's gambling addictions. There's addiction to gaming or technology. There's so many addictions out there. So we all probably know someone who could be addicted. But that's why, you know, there's a lot of relatable situations you can see. And she gives a lot of interesting stories. And it's fun hearing about it because she has many different life situations and different life stories. It's not all just like about her being drunk and drunk stories. There's many like life situation stories that she talks about with how she interacted with other parents at schools. And she just shows many of those things and just the struggles she faced becoming a mother. You know, there's just a lot of interesting things. Now, the only thing that you could say would be considered bad or could offend some people is that the humor may upset some people. You know, I enjoyed the humor. I really did. But humor may upset some people just because it can sometimes make it seem then that she's not taking some of the subjects as seriously, because she's, you know, becoming an alcoholic is a very serious thing. And sometimes the humor she throws in there may make it seem like she's not taking it as seriously. But if you're reading this book, you have to remember that she is a comedian. So sarcasm and all that is who she is. You know, she loves comedy. So that's just who she is. And she's just letting you know how she did it. But the humor made it very easy to read. It made it very easy to read because her writing was just very funny. And she did a great job with the writing. And I think the humor made the chapters just flow very easily. Because you were reading a chapter, then all of a sudden it was just done, and it was just a great chapter, and it was just a lot of fun. And she just gives you a lot of relatable situations, because as I said, like, you can be going through this, or you can know someone who's going through this type of stuff. So she gives you a lot of the stuff because she covers basically situations from when she was in middle school through her mid-40s type of thing, all of these situations. And that's why there's a lot of relatable situations, to something as easy as stealing candy to ditching class, but something as serious as like bulimia or becoming like taking alcohol as a teen and then becoming an alcoholic. So that's why she goes from easier stories to very serious ones, and she just covers so many situations. But you get a humorous yet true account of her life and what it's like to become sober, and the thoughts that she went through, the difficulties she faced with drinking and life, the difficulties when quitting. But humor's always thrown in, so that makes it very easy. So I would definitely recommend this book to anyone who wants to see the struggles of quitting alcohol and how someone quits an addiction, but also like how a mom faces the struggles in life when she is drinking. Because she gives you many stories, gives you an analysis for it. She's very truthful, yet adds humor. So I would definitely recommend it for people who want that. I should make it a note that you do not have to be addicted or have an addiction to enjoy the book. You can still enjoy it without having the addictions and just see all those things. But if you guys have any comments or questions, please post it in the comment section below, because I love to hear your opinions and your comments. Hope you guys click the subscribe button, as I always upload multiple different types of book reviews. But thank you for watching today. This is Mr. V. Go enjoy reading.